it's hard for me to reconcile what you just said with the news that came out of Massachusetts recently, where police labeled your group a hate group and were basically treating you like some kind of violent terrorist organization in their training materials. Is that right? How in the world did that happen?
Well, you have to go back to the Wayback Machine to 2023 when Southern Poverty Law Center added us to their hate map and said we were an anti-government extremist group, is what they labeled
Yeah,
us.
they do that to they do that to us. They did
Yep,
it to
they sure.
focus on the family. I think there's a lemonade stand down the street that got the label as well. So you're not alone.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt if just some sweet little kids selling lemonade have
Yeah.
made the hate map too. I mean, we joke, but it's a serious matter. We know that people have been, their lives have been threatened for being on that hate map. We've been canceled
That's
time
true.
and time again for being on that list and hate map. Our chapters sometimes they're not. They call locations and entities to have events, and they say, "No, sorry, you're a hate group." And what you just brought up is one of the more extreme cases where the entire state of Massachusetts police force is being trained to be on the lookout for Moms for Liberty members because we are a hate group, and we are categorized in their training and in their training manual right next to Antifa, who has burned down, whole parts of cities and
Right.
set cars on fire, and right after the neo-Nazis. And one of these things does not belong, and that is Moms for Liberty.
Yeah, well, this is kind of continuing a trend that was very prevalent in the Biden administration of labeling. They famously had this memo that went around talking about parents, like investigating parents, calling parents terrorists or part of a hate group, and demonizing parents who wanted to get involved, who are questioning COVID policies. And we see this all the time. I'm not sure what to make of it, but I think it goes back to that persecution thing and silencing and censorship, which is really powerful in the last decade and has lost a lot of its relevance. But the left in particular tries to take all groups on the right and bunch them together with some kind of like discredited, ridiculous neo-Nazi groups as a way to silence them, to cancel them, and write them off. But I get the feeling that it's not really working anymore. Like SPLC and other groups have kind of been discredited, like not taken nearly as seriously anymore. Is that your sense that despite all the labels and the efforts to censor you, it's much less powerful than it was a few years ago?
I think it's less powerful with people that are conservative or on the right or know better, but I would say most people don't. They hear that we're a hate group. The entire state of Massachusetts police force is being trained that we're a hate group. And so it's still very dangerous. It still carries a weight that is causing, negative reactions and actions to our organization. And so I think we still do have to take it very seriously.
Did the Massachusetts police ever renege on that or mediate it or temper it at all? Or are they just kind of sticking to their guns?
No, we keep asking for a public apology. We have not been contacted in at all, and we have not received an apology. And they have no desire to take it out of their training. As a matter of fact, I think either NPR or PBS ran a story recently where they quoted 7 or 8 different people throughout the state and in leadership positions that said we belong on that list, and they're thankful that police are being trained to, be warned about us.
Yeah, I mean, we've had our own run-ins with SPLC, and we have a great podcast that Jared Bridges did with a couple other folks on SPLC specifically. So if you're listening and you don't know about Southern Poverty Law Center and you want to learn about it, go back and listen to that podcast. It really exposes what's going on and how ridiculous some of these claims are. But I think Tina, the reason you're being targeted is because they're afraid of you. Because when I hear, I think you said, 130,000 parents, is that right? 48 states. Right.
Yeah, you absolutely got it. And, you were going back to the Biden administration and the DOJ and the threat tag. The FBI was calling some of our moms after school board meetings, but it didn't work. It didn't slow us down. And so I feel like if you look at the whole time period from the time we launched until probably the end of last year, the systematic attacks that were coming after us. And when one thing didn't work, a new level of attack was unleashed on us. And so the DOJ didn't work, the FBI didn't work. And so, we move all the way into 2023 and through public records requests and some other things. And the Heritage Foundation actually had to sue to get some of these requests on our behalf. We found out that the head of the SPLC visited the Biden White House 6 times leading up to declaring us anti-government extremist group. And so you can see the collusion and the way they were all working together. Shortly after that, somebody invested millions into Anonymous to cyber attack us relentlessly for 2 months at a time, over a 2-month period. It was just unrelenting attacks that just kept coming after us. But we're moms. We just brush ourselves off. Nothing's going to stop us from fighting for our kids. So we smile, we get back up, we put a smile on our face, we dust off our knees like we tell our kids, and we just get back in the fight.